These kids, they got every manual in the book. They have no excuse.
Yeah.
And you actually got people that care. Kevin Lyles jumped out. He jumped off the cliff to help Thug and them. And you know Thug and them, great humans in the community, done great things in the community. But you still affiliated with this life. What do you expect? The RICO was designed to get gangsters because gangsters were so savvy and had property and had all these things. But the RICO was designed because we have no statute of limitations. We have the right to go back and get this one in a life. If you say anything, conspiracy, if you do. So my thing is like, there's blueprints of how not to get in trouble and get this money.
Yeah.
How to be an artist and say things in your art that might, but when you're telling on yourself, when you're saying exactly what you're doing, who you're affiliated with, what car you were in,
right.
And I'm not talking about Thug in the statement I'm making right now, but whatever that is, come on, bro. It's not even worth explanation, bro.
Yeah.
It's almost baffling. And it's so disappointing because, again, you have all of the manuals, you have all of the videotape, you have all of the viral everything to show you what not to be.
What do they need? What needs to happen right now? If like the world in hip hop is
like
a club,
R. Kelly,
they
need their freedom taken.
What does Kenny do?
Listen, bro, this is the parent speaking. No more chances for people that 3, 4, 5, 6, 17 different strikes. Doesn't make sense. Yeah. You know what you're doing at this point. So you need to go on and face your consequences. And that's what life needs to be. Because people take advantage. You're taking advantage of innocent kids that have no clue.
All right, listen, every single week, every episode, you hear me talking about themorningmeetup.com. It's the community. Let me show you what's happening here. Every single morning, Monday through Friday, there's 400 plus people on a Zoom call, right? We're learning, we're talking, we're growing together, and this is you. There's all these people here. It's all these people in the morning meetup. Hundreds of people reading books, growing. We get together quarterly. It's amazing. And for some reason, you just keep looking at, just go to themorningmeetup.com and get in the circle. And then you'll be like way happier. Just themorningmeetup.com. Let's get back to the episode.
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast, where we find dope people that did dope stuff. And this gentleman here, I have watched for a decade or more of really being a true voice. There's a lot of influencers out here, but not many actually can influence people to do something.
Yeah, I was about to say, what actually is influence? I mean, some people can call themselves something.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually mean they can deliver.
Man.
You know, and
You've
I think
been that.
real influence is actually what you said, making people want to do the things that you are doing. And for almost over 2 decades, I've been doing that.
You've been in the game for almost 2 decades.
Yes.
Since when?
1992, I moved to Atlanta to go to Morris Brown College, the newly accredited Morris Brown College.
Are they back? Welcome back.
But then I started throwing parties like halfway in.
So,
I stopped going to school.
So you get to school, start throwing parties, then withdraw from school, but you still throwing the parties at the school?
Yeah, so I went to Morris Brown. I played ball. Big shout out to my sons. They're both on scholarship in college. I did good. They're good humans. But that was my dream to hoop. And so after I got out of jail, I got locked up my senior year in high school. And so after I got out of jail, my cousin went to trying to be Scarface. The whole era tried to be Scarface.
Just traffic in high school?
Yeah.
What city is this?
DC.
DC in the 80s?
No, this is the early 90s.
Early 90s?
But I started hustling in the 80s for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I'm old.
Shit. How old were you when you started?
16 when I started hustling. I was 18 as a senior in high school. Got tripped up, lost my basketball scholarship, so what would have been offers. And then my cousin went to Morehouse, and he was like, yo, Freaknik is coming. You got to come to Freaknik. I'm like, what is a Freaknik? What do you mean? What is this place you talk of? And he literally was like, come down. I got clear with my PO, and I came down and it changed my life. Like seeing all these black people from all over the world like me, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, because I'm from DC, 10 mile by 10 mile. You know what I mean? It's a district, it's not even a real city.
What did you see that stood out to you?
I mean, just creativity. I mean, at that time, a different world was on TV, like you saw what the college experiences was like. But again, I'm from DC, we were the murder capital of the world.
Yeah.
The district was the murder capital of, you know what I'm saying? So like, it was just a weird dynamic, right? But then everything I saw on TV, I saw when I came here.
Real life.
And saw the AUC, which is Clark Atlanta, Spelman, Morehouse, Morris Brown. It was like, wait, where? What? And then because my cousin was from Detroit, and I had lived with him and his mom at once upon a time. So I went to school in Detroit for a couple of years. So people from Detroit knew me, people from California knew me, and people from DC had knew me when I came. So I was just like, there was no social media. There was no, there was nothing that could amplify you. People had to amplify you. So when I got here, I was basically, my cousin told everybody I was Scarface and he's the man and all this other stuff. And then I ended up taking the blueprint Puff did at Howard when I was in high school. And just wanted to throw parties. And so I was promoting some parties at this club called the Phoenix, which eventually became the Warehouse. In the Warehouse, we had Funk Clinic Fridays, and that's when it was over. We took over the entire AUC and then eventually Atlanta.
Was your first party lit or was it like a dub?
Super lit. But I got jerked. So I rented this loft from these kids from Oakland. And, they were like giving me a shot, not thinking that I was going, turn all the way up. And I literally had like 2,000 people outside. The electricity went out, so we ended up having like a little mini, block party. And then the club down the street was actually the Phoenix at the time. He's like, yo, who are you? What do you do? I was like, I'm pop, and I want to throw parties. He's like, come in my spot. So we ended up doing a Funk Clinic. And I became legendary. We were first to bring the Big Mac, Biggie Smalls and Craig Mack when they had the little mixtape and thing. We brought Pac, Snoop, all that.
Yeah, so the first party, did you have any apprehension? Like, yo, I don't know if people gonna show up, or you was already knowing, like, yo,
nah, we were popping. Like, we were like 20 deep. We had
Yeah.
all the beautiful ladies' attention on the campus.
So it wasn't just you?
Nah, it wasn't. It was my crew. It was like my cousin Leo, my best friend Wendell, my cousin Dane, like all my, my people. GJ, like, we were deep. Lynn Dogs from Detroit. Like, it was a whole thing.
What'd you learn about moving people, though? At
that
that moment, like, yo,
women
I
were
made
the best
this
promotion
2000.
in the world.
Say it again?
Women were, I always say black women will say the planet now elevated as a black man, almost married 23 years and a pillar in my community. But back then I even understood the power and respect for women. They were the biggest promotion ever. If you could have women talking about you in whatever way positively, it would permeate through society like no other. So that was my first, like, yo, pay attention. I don't care nothing about these. I just gotta say, you can blurb that. But like literally focus on the women.
That's true today?
Absolutely. The greatest superpower on earth. I mean, they can give life. We can't, right?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Think about that when you think about like how you want to market and brand yourselves and your products.
So you have that philosophy, but you're married, and maybe, I'm sure your wife met you while you were this super popping guy.
Absolutely. What's the dynamic? How does it work?
What conversations did you have to have?
Well, she's a very strong woman. She told me initially, I fell in love what they all will fall in love with. Just don't bring that to my house. That was kind of like the prerequisite, like, ooh, you are serious. You mean what you say. So for me, that was like, yeah, okay, bet. So of course you're young, you're like, oh, I could do me and kind of like just figure it out. I was like, nah, you got to respect the house, the home. And I just, I took those words. We got engaged after and got married and built a partnership. I think, the great thing about relationships, at least mine, is that we grew together. You know what I mean? I'm talking about not just as, lovers, partners, friends, but, we built a business together. We have two functioning good humans. It's hard to have good humans, you know what I mean? Especially in this world of so much access. So, we're proud and we've gotten to the point, but it took a lot of patience on her end because to your point, I was outside. And, my business is unforgiving to relationships, but I never had any scathing, anything that would deter our love.
That's dope. That's dope. So like you've been
y'all believe in love now. Like y'all hype. I see your faces. Yeah, felt.
His voice even get low. He starts talking about love. Like you gotta believe. You know? I like that. I like that.
I'm a 70s baby. That was some real live.
You're a true influencer of people, and I want to know, like, before we get into like the story, like the psychology of moving people and influencing people?
It's a big responsibility. I think why I've been so successful because I authentically move the way that I move. Like I don't just, talk. You meet people in life and their girl doesn't match their car doesn't match their crib, like it doesn't match, you know what I mean? Like shit just doesn't add up. You know what I mean? I think my career has always made sense to people because they can fact check or look and it's like, oh, that's, you know what I mean? And,
Explain that.
well, I think,
it all
before,
matching and making sense.
pre-social media, you had to really be somebody. You know what I mean? You couldn't just show up like, I'm pot. No. No, because you had people that really were in control of the industry, media, entertainment, fashion, so forth and so on. So you have to be known for something. Like you have to have real skills. And I think for me, starting out, being a party promoter, I knew the value of people. I knew how to make people feel good. I was doing, appreciation parties. I was doing buses from the AUC over to I was doing things that made people feel comfortable and trust me, and when you have a trusted voice. And I was also blue-black. I'm blue-black on the inside. I know I'm light-skinned, so it was a whole light-skin, dark-skin thing. So I used to fight. So there was no punk and no playing,
Word.
you know what I'm saying, kind of. So you build like the respect, right, across the board. And then, legend kind of precedes you at times. Like we had wars with people and things that were publicly known, but the internet wasn't around. So the big fight, with Puff and Wolf and all these people at the
I might have
warehouse.
missed that. What's that?
So we had the Big Mac promo I was telling you about.
Right.
It came to Atlanta, and I was Puff's biggest fan. And again, I told you my blueprint was like his because he did it in DC. But they had came down with the Big Mac promo, and Mark Pitts, we used to call him Gucci Don, right? So Gooch was fighting on the stairwell, and I'm in the booth, on the mic talking. Mind you, at this point, I'm not a host. I'm just experimenting, and because I'm a promoter, right?
Yeah.
So I'm on the mic. I'm like, throw your hands in there, wave like just don't care. And I look up. And I'm like, yo, they're dragging Gooch down the stairs by his foot.
And that's your man.
That's my man. But bigger than that, I knew that at the New York, it was going to be a problem. And this is Puff, Wolf, like the whole bad boy, right? So I rush up the back stairwell. I catch them like before they can, because it was like a Y-shaped staircase in the warehouse, aka the Phoenix. And I caught him before like they saw, but they ended up seeing it, but I didn't know it at the time. So I'm like, yo, you good, Gooch? He's like, yo, he's going crazy. I forget, I can't curse. I'm holding him, trying.
Doing great.
Yeah, so he's like, yo, he's going, yeah. I'm like, yo, you leave. I'm reaching my pocket, gave him $100, like you leave, because they're going to kill you if you come down these stairs. So I'm thinking I diffuse it, you know what I mean? I'm getting that's Freaknik.
Yeah.
Freaknik 94.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm about to be rich. Like, this is Freaknik. So anyway, I go downstairs and all of a sudden, here comes Puff. Yo! New York! just hella like, oh! That's what I think about New York now sometimes. Oh! It's like, why are you so anime? Like, we're good. Like, everything's done. So he's like, no, y'all disrespecting. I'm like, we not disrespecting. And you know better. Relax. Everybody relax. But at this point, my whole crew done drawn out. They at the door, and it became a whole thing. So, yeah.
Is everybody okay?
Everybody's alive and well. Clearly, it's 20-something years later.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, damn, 20-something years later.
Goodness.
But anyway, that's how legend gets going. To my point to you, like things happen in your life that you realize really benefit you in the long run. Like us, Black men who make poor decisions early, if you're able to make it out of those situations, it becomes legend, but you just have to know what to do with that power when it's time. Because I couldn't tell the young, Kenny Burn. I couldn't tell Fly Guy DC or Ferrari Sims or anybody I mentor, like, yo, you gotta turn up. That's why, like, when I see him turn up, I be like, yo, it ends like this.
Right.
Because the either or is normally not in your favor.
But it didn't end bad for you.
I know, but I didn't have social media. They have social media. So, like, I gotta be the guy that said, you know what I mean? And you think like you never want to know, but they listen because they respect it.
Yeah.
I'm still outside. There's no host better than me, or like there's no one that does the things that I do when I host. So I'm not in fear of. I give everybody the free game. I give everybody the information because I want. But again, it comes from experience, and that's a lot of times why. Back to your original thing about influencers, people don't have experiences. How can you influence anybody with no experience?
Yeah.
But that's also the problem with podcasts and this whole media game. Like at the end of the day, celebrities. If you have the right celebrity, you're gonna, but like. Everybody knows a celebrity. Somebody cousin, this, that, and the third, but that doesn't make the interview special. That doesn't make the moment special. And it's about making Special moments.
Yeah, I really want to get into, because I look at myself as somewhat of a micro influencer, where I can say, meet me here and we're going to learn about financial literacy or whatever we're going to be talking about. But I want to know, like, because you've been dealing with people and like really influencing people to operate in a certain way. And we'll get into, like, I know how you've influenced fashion, our whole culture at times. I want to know
several points throughout history.
Oh, we're going to talk about them too.
Yeah.
I want to know what you've learned about being influential, as if you're going to teach me how I can take my influence to another level.
Yeah, well, let's just start about actually what you built. You know what I mean? When I looked at your facility today, I was floored. I literally was floored, because I think I'm coming, you got a little room, this, that, and the third, but you have a whole functioning ecosystem where you now can monetize, right? We talked about sponsorship. We talked about I'm seeing the people that are in here renting your facility now. I think, the power of influence with that is that you actually built it. Mm-hmm. A lot of problems with culture in general, these ideas, like everybody has an idea. Yeah. Everybody can do something.
And they're going to be huge.
But they do nothing. Right? But they do nothing.
Right.
And they come to you with these ideas that you're supposed to make them happen. The reason I respect you and I'm even doing this is because I've been hearing, clearly I know you, but I've been hearing about what you're building. So I wanted to come give more to help you get more. And I think that's what that's why I'm a legend. That's why, like, I continue to be blessed. But like the people that have nothing to offer, like you transcended that. You're not just, and that's why I even asked you about sleep is for suckers. Like, do you still believe that today?
Because he met me with this, like, I'm in the streets selling t-shirts.
Now that you're a father, do you believe in sleep? Yeah. So I think that, like, it's all evolution too. Like, we all have grand ideas. You know what I mean? Like, we have these things we want to do, but like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you actually doing? Like, people come to me all the time. It's not even to be, and I'm not even, I can't be anti-industry. I can't, although I dislike a lot. I dislike a lot of stuff that goes on. Like 90% of this business is full of suckers, right?
Is it? I would imagine, but
do you read the blogs? Do you like, are you paying attention to society? You have superheroes that we grew up idolizing, saying they're gonna hold the black vote 6 months before an election, which turned into being the worst human on the planet. They ended up in an insurrection January 6th. But you talking about hold what? And if you, being a superhero, are saying that, just listening. Like, it's not even a question. Like, I'm not voting because it don't matter anyway. He just said, don't vote. What type of service to your community is that? We just saw this. If the man would have got through and got to Pence, he might have got hung. If he'd have got through and made the vote go another way, we might not have a democratic society. We might have what they have in China and Russia, because that's who he was buddying with. So it's bigger than Nino Brown. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers get, and I just, and to your point of influence, like, what are we really influencing? Like, yeah, you can have all this stuff and have all these things, but you still. Yeah. And that's what we got to get back to as a society too, because we don't hold nobody responsible. Anybody can be anything they want on any day, on any given day. But you ain't. And it got to come out at some point. It has to come out.
Right.
And you could be a truth seeker, like, you know what I'm saying? And be, this amazing space you built doesn't have to be just about entertainment as far as what's going to get clickbait or go viral. It could be about, I'm going to change society. Yeah. These young women right here can have a whole perspective about something they want to talk about that's not shunning men, but inviting men into the conversation. Yeah. It could be a whole nother thing about politics, what you don't understand. Like, whatever it is, but it just needs to mean more, because all the shock and all, you can still have personality, be funny, go viral, and not,
That's a fact. Listen, if I was going to teach you how to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Like, if I had a course teach you how to make $1 million a year, positive, you're going to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Of course you would. It's no brainer, right? So in a calendar year, we make 7 figures with the podcast. But there's 21 things that I extracted from that you're going to need to launch your podcast. But I only got time to give you 3 right now. One is you need a distribution platform. The distribution platform is what you upload your podcast to. That platform sends it to Spotify, Apple, Google Play, so that your supporters can actually listen to your podcast. You're also going to need a microphone. You need a really good microphone so it's crispy audio. And 3, you need an income strategy. This is not necessarily a hobby, unless you're going to make it a hobby, but I can teach you how I made the 7 figures with these 21 things. Now, the good news is you don't have to give me 10,000. My ebook is only $37, okay? So listen, go to podcastebook.com and get the 21 things that you need. And I can explain it in detail, all the things that you need, okay? Podcastebook.com. Let's get to the episode. I wanna like really, so we know that you're an influential person, and I wanna go back through the influence. The one major I can remember, especially watching your documentary, and a lot of people give the credit to Jay-Z, and maybe it was like a joint effort, but the whole culture went to button-ups.
Yeah, Jay-Z had nothing to do with it, but the video. And we are thankful that he wore the clothes.
Absolutely. Talk to me about that.
So Ryan Kinney was an idea from my friend Ryan Glover, who recently just sold Bounce for like gazillions of dollars. And he's doing his thing. Big shout out to Ryan.
That was a clothing brand.
And Derek Dudley, who's now my manager, ironically, who managed Common and executive produces The Shy. So we just joined forces one day. And we're like, hip hop's growing up, you know, and
everybody's wearing tall tees and jerseys.
Yeah, the big tees and it was just nasty because it was getting to the point where it's like that's a dress, brother. It's not a fucking t-shirt. Like that's like you look crazy. And this is a formal dining area. Can you? So this is things that people didn't click for common sense, right? Like so.
Were you ever in that space of the tall tees and?
Yeah, I was always fresh in general though. Like you know, I mean, I never really took to just wearing white tees. I mean, clearly a fresh white tee and some basketball shorts on I gotta hurry up, but I still want to be crisp. Yeah, but that wasn't a part of my wardrobe.
So you never really liked that whole.
Nah, I never really got with status quo like that. You know what I mean? Now, fresh white, I'll still wear a fresh white t-shirt. But, you know, I wanted to mean a little more.
Gotcha.
In my offering. I've always shown up how I want to be received. So I really, you know, tell people to do the same. Yeah. Like you have to be intent on. That's how people see you. The first thing they see is like, I don't even know. Like, but he's fresh as a motherfucker. Or I don't know her, but she smells great. Like whatever it is. Like that's your first impression.
So that's where the world is, and you have this idea.
Yep. And so Ryan Glover's wife, Tamika, I don't know her last name now. It might be back to Foster, but she was Usher Raymond's ex-wife, and she's stylist, and she was styling Usher, Jay-Z, all these people. And a funny story about Jay-Z and the proof that he had no idea it was even my brand, wearing my shit. We were at the Vibe Awards. Me, Dame, and Biggs used to all kind of hang, and this was when they were starting to kind of break off. And so he's wearing a Ryan Kinney button-up in the speech. So he comes out after and he's like, "Yeah, man, y'all good? Yeah, we good." I said, I like that shirt." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "What is it?" "You don't know nothing about that." So, but it was a beautiful time because, like I said, Tamika was a big reason why they were wearing it. I mean, we were popping. I mean, because I was wearing it too.
Yeah.
She actually put it on them. So yeah, it was time for hip hop to grow up though. Like we were making money we had never made. You know, we were, becoming more intelligent about the deals we were making and what our superpowers were and what we could ask for.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're not going to just take my publisher. I'm not going to let you take my whatever that was. We were in that mode.
Yeah.
And so I felt like, it was a perfect time and it was a cultural phenomenon. And the one thing I regret in that whole scenario is that Dame Dash, big shout out to Dame, J and Biggs, but Dame Dash just said, y'all should dumb this price point down. Because our price point, I don't know if you remember this, like we were selling $700 shirts.
I didn't know anything about the brand. And $700?
We were selling $700 shirts, and we were selling $5,000 shirts with the custom Lorraine Schwartz button. Jesus, this is fucking man.
I'm sorry.
With the little cufflinks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we had Lorraine Schwartz making our cufflinks. But we were on fire. But Dame said, "Yo, you need to make $60, $70 button ups so we could run through them." And that's something we all wish we would have did, because by the time we realized that, Dame was getting X'd out of Rockaware.
I interviewed Dame. He didn't say he was getting X out of Rockaware.
Yeah, they played him. He's definitely talked about it publicly.
How? No, we had
Add footage here. All I gotta do is find it. Yeah. Add footage here.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. So the start of that, right? Did you know in your mind when you're starting the brand, were you thinking, yo, we about to get all these people out of these t-shirts and dresses?
Nah, it was more so like the one thing I had learned about the music business is that they all wanted to be like guys like me. They wanted to be street guys. They wanted to have a certain level of energy when they showed. And so it was more like, nah, I do this. Y'all getting with it or not? It wasn't like, I'm gonna make you wear a button up because you have mustard on your teeth. Stain hasn't come out, nigga. Nah, but I just didn't think like I was gonna make society, but that shit was huge.
Yeah, huge.
But I give Jay all the credit in the world for wearing it.
Yeah.
Because he made a song called Change Clothes, like,
and go.
And ironically about our movement.
Yeah.
So, it feels good. But I've always been one who would rather be discovered than seen immediately. Yeah. I love the discovery to this day. Like, they're gonna go home and watch the documentary. They're gonna be like, yo, that was in there. Yo, I didn't even know.
Right.
Because we're not gonna cover all the stuff I've done. They're gonna be like, what?
Right.
He's on Akon.
Yeah.
Wale? The girl group Dream? It was a 14-year-old white girl for 2 years.
Yo, let's talk about some stuff that you don't get credit for that nobody knows. Because you got a lot of it, I believe. You're the tastemaker of the whole industry. There's not many, but you got Dapper Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I created influencer programs that all spirit companies use. And you were in Atlanta at the time. I mean, my 35th birthday, I had pitched Heineken for...
You said you created influencer programs.
Absolutely, all spirit companies use. The lifestyle specialists. I'm the lifestyle specialist. How many motherfuckers y'all done met that call themselves the lifestyle specialist?
That's true.
So a lot of people that say that. Or
really?
Yeah, there was no ROI on an individual. Remember, back in the day, it was like marketing companies. Around 2005, there was a boom with like smaller. Because you had like Gray, you had like Uniworld, you had like the grandfathers, right, of the business. But then these Team Epiphanies and all these people were popping up. But it was really one person that was like the one. You do business with this guy, he makes it happen through his company. And for me, I was in that mode of like, I don't have the back office, but I have all the relationships. So I pitched with a company called Alloy Marketing. Big shout out to True Pettigrew. He was a fan of my work, knew I could put people together. He was like, yo, I got this marketing agency. We need a guy like you. I was like, bet I need $20,000 a month. I was just throwing out numbers like, I need 20 a month. And he was like, bet. I was like, word. What's our first? You know what I mean? What's our first thing? He was like, yo, we got the opportunity to get this Heineken business. I was like, yo, the Heineken Red Star Soul CD was this very popular CD. And it had like Erykah Badu first, like Glenn Lewis, like all these people on it. I was like, yo, we should recreate a tour after the CD and call it the Heineken Red Star Soul Tour. And I'll host. So we pitched it, won the business. I was the hosting thing, ended up hosting it for like 4 years. But that started like my energy in the spirit world. And then I had an opportunity, and this is for everybody, all of you youngins that don't understand the value of your hustler. Okay, this is a very, very important note. I was in Washington, D.C. at Love, and Mark Barnes is a legend in D.C. And
he's a promoter?
Yeah, he's the promoter. He's the longest running promoter. He owns Park at 14th now. Incredible guy, big brother. Asshole early on in my life, definitely big brother. But he literally was talking to the Moet Hennessy people. You know what I mean? And because I knew Alex and, we started the party thing together here in Atlanta, they were talking about these brothers from Atlanta that were like extorting them. True story. And I'm listening and I'm getting comfortable and shit. I'm like, there's going to be a play for me in here. I can feel it. And literally he was like, yeah, these Get One brothers, they stopped selling Hennessy and Moet. And I was like, all right. So they kept talking. I was like, I have an answer for your problem. They're like, what are you talking about? These guys are no joke. Like they don't want to, because the marketing, and we didn't do, and whoop, I said, what's the number? Well, I mean, we're at such and such, but they're not going for. I said, well, what's the number? What number will work? They told me the number, I got it done. So the favor for me was, I need my party for my 35th birthday. Will you take care of it? So they ended up
So
spending
the Gideon brothers, they stopped selling Moet Hennessy. They was
altogether.
Like, yo, we're done. And you have a relationship, obviously.
Yeah, so I paired them, fixed the relationship, got my party.
Right.
The party was like a $200,000 party, and I was a celebrity. So not being a celebrity, they were wondering why I got so many hits for this party. We had like 1 billion impressions after the party. Star Jones and Al Reynolds were the biggest thing in the tabloids back then. So not only, Fat Joe, like all these people, but they came and People magazine picked up the story. Back then, there was no social media like that. You know what I mean? Like, you had to, I think maybe MySpace and stuff was going, but so it started going crazy. So people were like, who is this person? Matter of fact, speaking of the bobblehead, that was the promo. That was the invite for that party.
Yeah.
And the people got in trouble at Moet because they kept, taking from budgets to pay for this party. Because it started out at $60,000, ended up being like almost a $200,000 party.
Sheesh.
Barton G catered it. We had prawns the size of your face. Like, the shit was nuts. You know what I'm talking about? It was nuts. You can go to the bar, I need 2 bottles of Dom Perignon. Like, it was crazy. It wasn't like, give me a drink. By the way, big shout out to Moet Hennessy because they're sponsoring my birthday party at Paisley Park coming up. But they literally, were like, who is this person? People flew from overseas because, like, why we have all, because back then they didn't commingle brands. I had 10 Cane Rum, Belvedere, you know what I'm saying? Dom, Moet, Hennessy. I had all the portfolios so they could pay for the party. So long story short, that was...
hold on. They're paying for the party. Then you go get other sponsors to pay for the party at another liquor sponsored party.
No, they paid for everything. Moet Hennessy paid for everything. They had to go inside their portfolio to get money from other budgets to pay. So yeah, it was but that started. How is he not a celebrity doing this? What power does he have actually? And so Grey Goose, right after Moet Hennessy, big shout out to Chauncey Hamlet, who's now at Pepsi. We were talking about that prior to. He had an activation that he wanted to try in Atlanta because Ciroc Flavors was doing so well. And he was like, yo, got this budget. If you can prove this, ROI, I'll give you $1 million on your credit card. And you can do sponsorships, whatever you want to do. I was like, and they didn't say.
Are you saying that? Are you saying like throwing out a number, or it was $1 million?
No, I'm saying I ended up spending like $890,000 that year on my. The $1 million was more like conversationally, like I have this budget. Right. This is what I have to spend. These are the things I have to cover.
Right.
But I ended up spending $890,000 that year, almost $900,000.
And what do you spend it on as a rep?
I'll tell you. So he basically said, I got to give you the ask before I can tell you. So the ask was like, Ciroc Flavors are going crazy. I need you to make some room for La Poire, L'Orange, because they had all these flavors, but they wasn't concentrating on flavors. Puff was the master. So I was like, absolutely. What's my budget? So he said, boom, 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 we got going. So I put Billboard in front of Justin's because this is when Puff had Justin's. I had the bottle of Grey Goose in front of Justin's, like,
right.
You know what I mean? I had one at the Gold Room. I had, done so many things to kind of like, with him.
Right.
And he came to town. We booked him at the compound.
Right.
With him some more.
Give me the edited version, Skinny. Just do your best.
So bleep that out though.
I got you.
Some more. And literally at the compound that night, this is Googleable. You should insert here. Insert here. Literally, bro, I put my booth in front of his booth. And I was like, every time he orders a Ciroc, I'm going to order 2 Grey Goose. So I order all this Grey Goose, and all of a sudden he gets on the mic, yo, if you got bottles in your hand, put them up in the air. So, my whole table's like. And literally, he was like, you light-skinned motherfucker, I'm tired of you. And so it just became legendary, went viral. T.I. had just came home for having Afghanistan in his trunk. And he was like, I'm not going to jail for this. This is Kenny's home. You're a visitor. Puff was like, I'm not yo! And so it just became a thing. But that is when I was doing the experiment. And that is when people were seeing like, how is he making all these videos with all these celebrities? We're not paying the celebrities, but they're in Kenny's videos. And that's when it just went stupid. And then I got an opportunity to support, I forgot what album it was for Drake, but I got to support his album. I got to And, we went to Houston for All-Star games.
Right.
So these were all things a part of the budget. And there was a company called Javelin. They just didn't give me $1 million, but I got the money through the agency and was responsible for
And they were
on.
pleased.
Pleased is an understatement.
In these deals, like say you get it done, do they give you a bonus? Or
Well, the bonus is how you hustle.
Yeah.
Never forget
that. Explain. And Reese, can we fix this arm? Because I don't want to.
No, it's fine. It's just good. People like wrestling. So this is fun. Here we go. I'm good. Seriously, I'm good. Yeah, enjoy the conversation. Gotcha. So the crazy though is like, what was I saying? What was I saying? How you got to double.
How you hustle.
My man, he's into it. I see him like clapping over there. But how you hustle is, I was doing, so imagine, Alex is paying me whatever to host, right? I think I started out like $750 a night. I make $30,000 for 2 hours now. But I was at $750 a night, right? And it wasn't no money, but it was me in the club. And I was on the radio, I ended up getting, So I was like, I'm gonna do it. But I had the liquor money. So Alex was giving me 30%. And I'm telling y'all this out loud, which you could never say yourself if you're doing it, because I'm not doing it anymore and I'm not gonna get in trouble. Right. But I was getting 30% of whatever sponsorship I brought to Alex. And I had other deals around the country, so you can imagine.
30% of the sponsors that you bring to
So
Alex.
if I brought you $100,000, Alex, I need $30,000. I'm already getting paid from Javelin, which is Grey Goose. I'm already getting my weekly. So I'm in that like
going crazy.
Don Cornelius. If you don't know who Don Cornelius is, kill yourself. But I think that, at the end of the day, you got to learn how to hustle, because the system will hustle you. They will take from you. And I'm not saying to anybody do anything. That wasn't illegal. I was getting paid for my service.
Sure.
I just understood how to get that bag.
Is there anybody that's like you? Not like you exactly, but like
there's a lot. Yes. I didn't mean but yeah. There's a lot of people that grew. I mean, Jabbar Colston. I mean, elite stars here in Atlanta. We have, plenty of people. Tony Perry in D.C. You got a lot of people that understand how to move the money. That's all they do in corporate America.
Yeah.
You're just not privy.
Why have you never and I don't know, you maybe have your own club?
Yeah, I love people, but I don't like the business of a club. I like to show up and get paid.
Yeah.
I don't want the rain to dictate my paper. I don't want to deal with dysfunction and paper. I'm sorry, dysfunction.
When you saw Boomerang, bro, I know something clicked in your head. Like, yo, Boomerang. Not Boomerang.
Boomerang confirmed totals.
Not Boomerang. Thin line between love and hate.
Nah.
You didn't like Chocolate City, let me have my own.
Nah, I told you when I was, when it was college days at the warehouse, and I knew once I touched that mic, I was like, oh, you're different. You can move people in a different way. I would have been a preacher if I didn't curse so much.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. Would have been a good preacher then, but I'd have been a great orator. Now I'd be a great preacher though.
Yeah.
I just still curse too much.
Hosting. So, you know what? I never, until this conversation, you said you get 30,000 a host at a club? I
just hosted Essence. I don't do clubs anymore.
You don't do clubs anymore at all?
No. It's not, they don't pay enough.
And
unless it's like a little brother situation, like Larry Morrow in New Orleans or Curtis Givens in Memphis. I had people that I will be there for in that capacity, but.
You did it on your leisure.
Yeah, but that's a tempo event. It was 4,000 people there.
Sure did.
Name the last time you see me at the compound. Right. Or Gold Room. You can have that. The hookahs messed up the party.
Why you say that?
I just can't breathe.
Oh.
I'm a mic man. My voice is the most valuable thing I have.
Indeed.
But it just also, too, doesn't pay enough. And I purposely tell them what I tell them so that they won't try to book me.
What do you think?
But they still try.
What do you think people pay you for? Because is it hosting? Or is there what are they paying you for?
Have you not been in the club with me ever?
I have.
So what would you pay me for? Hello?
It's a vibe, but I want you.
What? What? You tell me. I'm not going to talk about myself in that capacity.
People have a good time. you keep the energy going in the party.
See if he has real respect for my craft.
No, I want you to say it though, because like you control the narrative of what's happening. If people are having a good
But if I
time,
didn't
they
make
spend
you
more
feel
money.
that way, I have to host another party so that you can feel that way. Like for me, the difference between me and anyone else is that I'm not paying attention to anything else but the people. I never say my name on the mic. You can't probably think of one time I ever said, "It's Kenny Burns, the lifestyle specialist." I never say my name on the mic because it's not about me. I'm focused on the birthday girl. I'm focused on dude getting married. I'm focused on all of that. And if you're an artist, you're going to want to get on that mic. You're not going to want me to ad-lib your songs because the light will be on me and not you. And that's what people used to always hire me for because we can hire them to host and then ask Kenny to host. Because if he gets on the mic, they're going to perform.
I want to invite you to pick my brain.
Mine too. Mine too.
Yours too?
Mine too.
Yours too.
I can
Okay,
pick
you
my
guys.
brain.
We are so excited because we just dropped our newest podcast series called the Brain Picker Podcast. David.
Oh, it's going down. You get to pick our brain. You have a business idea, a concept. You're stuck. You can't get off the ground. You need the advice of seasoned, experienced entrepreneurs. Not only entrepreneurs that are practitioners, but we got a lot of people that we've been coaching all over the last decade.
All over the globe.
That got receipts.
Not just that, you never know where your next investor might be hanging out. And the word on the street is we got all the connections.
That's a big fact.
We got all the connections. So if you want to sit down with us and pick our brains.
In front of our audience.
And we're letting you pick our brains. We won't even talk bad about you for doing it in front of our audience, bringing your business maximum exposure. Find the link somewhere around here, wherever you see it.
It's there.
And apply.
Right now.
To pick our brain.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
And that was like the thing that took me out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I think for me now, it's more like, you know, I can't get across the messaging I have now. Like I used to be in the club making people pray. Like our Father, who art, I mean, just whatever I felt in my spirit, right. I do.
That was the pastor coming out like.
No, but I think at times we lose sight of like moments. I create moments. People have gotten pregnant, have gotten married based on my narration. And I really believe it's the things you say that affect people. But I can't be in a club now at 50 years old talking about touch yourself. Worse than 20, you know what I mean? If you love yourself, touch yourself. I mean, but people don't talk like that. People don't even, like, to be honest with you, I be having jokes. Like, I'm like, this would be me on the mic.
Yeah.
You can't escape that feeling. You can't escape wanting to be a part of that energy. It's pure.
Yo, there was a transition of, like, it was clubs, dancing, grinding on each other, and big dance floor. And then something happened, which I feel in my spirit you had something to do with it. Every club turned into all sections.
I can't take the credit for that. I can take the credit for keeping the party going through that, but Alex Gitwan is the genius behind the table service. Alex,
did he have a conversation with you about this? Like,
nah, I don't think it was more of like, because I don't know if what year did you come to Atlanta?
I came 2003.
Oh, you definitely remember.
I was at M's first party at Visions.
Okay. Well, you definitely remember. So you remember sections were only on the outskirts.
Yeah.
Everything else in the middle was open.
Mm-hmm.
But more and more people wanted to have table service. Mm-hmm. So it was more about the look than it was the party. Yeah. And that changed. But you could blame Alex for that. You can also blame Alex and Simon Gitwan, very profitable for them, but hookah as well, because they introduced that on a major scale. But that's why the party now is going through another phase. Like, you have one table with 85 people, 72 tentacles. Can't move. It's nasty. It's disgusting. Then you got the girl, who's beautiful, by the way, and she's rapping little Dirk lyrics with the mean face. No, not the type party I want to be at. And you're right. I'm the first guy in Atlanta, to your point, to play slow songs at 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Really?
Absolutely. Nobody did that before me. Nobody did that in America before me.
Wow.
I'm the one who had to slow it down because you stupid about to start fighting and somebody's getting some. If it's up to me, somebody's getting pregnant and I want to be Part of the family. What, you know what I mean? Like, what is the point of fighting right now? We're drunk. You feel me? What are we doing? We need some jagged edge.
Right.
I'm going down a lonely highway, asking God to please forgive me. You know I'm the fifth member.
Give me some of your most memorable moments in the club.
Oh, too easy. Birthday bash. When I'm sorry. Too easy. Jermaine Dupri's So Def 20th anniversary. Jay-Z. Might be, not ain't even number one. One of the highlights. Birthday bash. And this is an amazing story.
What year is this?
I don't care. Google it. But
Insert here.
Insert.
I love it.
But this is, I've never in my life, I've done some amazing things. But in the club, this is the top. So it's birthday bash. And the entrance to the back of the compound was getting a little weird because sometimes he wanted people to go to the back, sometimes he wanted to come. So I was like, yo, tonight, make them go through the back. And when they come through the back, announce who's there so that I can play their record and introduce them at the same time. So this year, in particular for Birthday Bash, Outkast came with Andre Benjamin. So I was like, one of the greatest super groups in the history. You know me, I'm on my,
right.
You know what I'm talking about? And so, and they play Sorry, Miss Jackson, and everybody's like to the lump, you know, and so he comes in. Next thing you know, Future comes in, Shawty Low comes in, you know, all these people are coming in. Then it's fucking Drake and then Kanye. So every entrance, I'm dropping a song. Kanye comes in last. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest artists in the history of the world, Grammy winner. I'm going through stats, which other hosts don't do. I'm going through the whole rundown. Then he dropped, whoa, whoa. And I'm talking, I got goosebumps now. The whole roof went off of it. And that's a legendary picture, actually, to date, until they just did the Coliseum together. They would show my picture, insert here, with Drake and Kanye every time they announce it. If you go to Complex, you Google, anytime they talk about it, it's that picture from that party of me, Drake, and Kanye. Big shout out to ATL Pics.
Yo, you know what?
That's crazy, though. Yeah, like, you've never seen that in a club with that many artists in the prime, Future, everybody. And you go on one song for song every time they enter. And then when they're all in there, I drop Dreams and Nightmares. Nick wasn't there, but we went out. But that's what I'm saying. Like, conductors conduct. I'm not your regular host. I'm going to identify the moment. I'm going to create the moment. I'm going to realize that such ain't right. And I'm not going to wait for anybody to fix it. Security, nobody. And you can attest it. Back in the day, I'd go in the crowd. If there's a fight, I'm stopping it. And would nobody fight me?
Right.
Alex. Fact, look at the picture. You got to bring the picture over here. Come on, get in this footage.
What picture are you?
Yeah, get the picture. This man is hired. You need a job?
Oh,
every time they show him.
That's you.
But the point I'm trying to make is, like, you know, it's bigger than Nino Brown.
They got a bunch of pictures of you. It's like you're in the middle of everything. All the time.
History. You know what I mean?
Sorry, thank you. How do you take that skill set? Because I know you can. I'll start with this question first. Give me a time that you had to change the mood of a whole club, or maybe like it's not working.
Oh, no, hold on. Great example right here. Vanquish. Do you remember Vanquish?
Yeah.
So we had, been doing this dress up vibe because everything was so, dope boy central. You know what I mean?
Right.
And big shout out to the dope boys. It don't happen without the streets. But at the same time, we wanted to dress up and have another vibe. Now this is, I forget what year it was, but I wanted to take the party even more left. I was already doing slow songs, but I wanted to fist pump. I wanted to bring Vegas to Atlanta. And nobody was doing that, bro. Nobody was playing popular music in the urban clubs.
Right.
We playing LMFAO, we playing, Little John, he had a couple, big fist pump records, but then we just started playing whatever. And I think that I knew culturally when Atlanta needed to change the feel of the party. And when I was in the club, I felt like it was my responsibility. So whether, it started out introducing slow songs in the middle of the turn-up hour, right? Or, doing the fist pump. I mean, I had rugs in them when they was trying to figure it out. All them Brooklyn niggas, shots, 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 shots. Those my little brothers, and they trusted me for a good time, so they went with the flow. Yeah. And I just feel like at the end of the day, like when you could do that and really inspire people's thoughts, dreams, and imagination, it takes them places that they never would have went without that.
Yeah, well, what about the DJ that doesn't have what you want to do? Like, you ever
had it? Doesn't happen. They're not hired. They're not booked for that night. Or if they're there, they got to go. Or you're going to play these records. And there's been plenty trying to challenge it.
Did you have to
I never had to turn up.
DJs?
I never had to turn up on nobody.
Yeah.
You're going to play these records, I'm not going to be on the mic. I'm paid to be here. I'm sure substantially more than you're getting paid. So you want to be a jerk? You want to be a jerk and make it about you?
Right.
Or you want to do what the people need?
So yo, that's crazy this whole time. Because I've been in the club with Infamous, and shouts out to Feezy, since college. And they're playing what they play, right? And the host typically just goes with whatever they're playing. So I'm thinking that the DJ is controlling the party.
Insert Infamous and Feezy's thought about me hosting here. But I'll tell you, I'm just saying, they'll tell you. I called Infamous one night. He was on V103 Live. And I called him like, yo. I was like, KB, what's up? I'm on the radio. I was like, you're not talking to the women. He's like, what do you mean? I said, you're talking to these dope boys. First of all, you're there by yourself. No one's at the club yet. So what illusion are you making happen? Like, what picture are you painting? if I'm at the club and nobody's there, and I did it for years.
Right.
Me and Baby You made you think it was 20,000 people at the world famous compound. And it was sexy. Legs were out. White toenail polish. There was no confusion. You ask Infamous to this day. That's why he does what he does. And one thing and speaking of Infamous, I love him. He's probably one of my top 5 DJs in the world. He does sets. People don't do sets no more. People try to compete to outplay the hits. If you don't take somebody somewhere with your grown, take people on a musical journey. It lasts longer. Yeah. I was in the club last night and I heard, you know what I mean? You want to have that moment. You don't want to have, they played Lil Durk 400 times.
You control the emotions of people.
No problem with Lil Durk. Like yo. No problem with Lil Durk.
That's crazy.
I have no problem with Lil Durk. I love Lil Durk.
Yeah, you control people.
Although Lil Durk scared me.
What do you mean?
Yo, bro. This last All-Star, I did take some club dates. But it was because it was All-Star. And my mans and them were doing the Larry Morrow. Big shout to Larry Morrow. And, bro, I had to play slow songs, bro. Man came there with security with machine guns, bro. Like machine guns on their Teflon vests, like Afghanistan. And I was like, why? This kid is so handsome and nice and seemingly nice. Well, clearly he has people around him that need M16s and Teflon. Like, but I'm not here for none of that. And they getting too much money. That's a whole nother podcast, though.
Okay.
Sorry, I'd be going on tangents. I mean it, though. I want them to be better.
Oh, absolutely.
Got a lot of influence.
Yeah. You control people's emotions and how they feel in the club. He's good. He just looked like that. He just looked like
no, that eyes was rolling back his head. You can't do that when a legend's in the building. Sign of disrespect.
Yo, so how do you transfer that skill set to like the corporate offices? Because like it's not just you're asking for money. Yeah, you are wooing people.
You have to prove an ROI. Everything is about the bottom line. Return on investment, whoever doesn't know that. And if you can show them why you're necessary or good for business, the perfect example was how Moet Hennessy took a chance on me to fix that relationship. So whatever millions of dollars they weren't getting prior to that is back on schedule. He's worth 20%. So you can see what the dynamic and thought could be. But then when I created influencer programs, it was more about like, I can pay him X, Y, and Z. We're going to do spins at the club, which is going to basically pay for him. And then I'm going to have my, you know what I mean? So I think you have to, one, think outside of your current circumstance in any deal.
And are you painting that picture as you're
along
going
the
along?
way? A lot of it was trial and error because I didn't know I was a guinea pig. I didn't know they were testing anything on me. That's why I could take credit for influencer programs because before me, wasn't no celebrity getting no $200,000 for a party. Just wasn't happening. And I had the Versace mansion and every room in that. Instead of Gianni Versace's room because he had a 45-foot bed and you.
What?
Yeah, it was just a little nervous in there, the energy-wise.
You saw the bed? 45?
His bed was like bigger than his, probably about the size of this room.
What?
Yeah. That room was off limits for my guests.
Yeah, I bet. So I have a podcast. Don't be selfish right now. I have a podcast and I had like some water up here. But
Would you like to put it back?
down? No, of course not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Because now you know
I'm
that
coachable.
you gotta be intense.
I'm a coach.
Who you post, who you sell.
So so we gotta that's why I was gonna have him
No, that's fine.
Fix it.
You good over it? We sounding good?
You can hear it? He's good?
As long as we sound good.
Okay, good.
It's on my nipple. It's like pressing.
So I have a podcast and it's about it's pretty popular, man. We got some, got a bunch of downloads.
Did I see the diamonds?
Thanks, God.
Didn't see him 10 years ago.
Yo, Kitty.
And I see the studio. This is beautiful. It's not just this one room he offers.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
How do I get corporate sponsorships? So I get corporate sponsorships for my podcast, but they come through my hosting site, my hosting platform, and they just send them to me and I do the ad read.
Yeah.
But I need to build these relationships myself, man.
Yeah, got to be more intentful with who and what. I think that you know enough people that are in business relationships where you can meet those people and then find out what the need is. My brilliance has always been knowing who needs what. And it didn't come from like being on the outside of it. It came from being close to it. Oh, you need, huh? What I say about ear hustling earlier? You got a problem with the good ones? Oh, you know what I mean? Oh, you got Drake? Oh, you know what I mean? And that's how you get your name, in the game. And once you're in there, it's relationships, man. The people I do business with today, I've been doing business with for 2 decades. And this ain't listen, one thing y'all need to understand. Roles change. People don't. These people go from company to company. They're always going to be in the business where they can support.
Roles change. People don't.
Like that.
I like
that. On accident.
That's crazy. What would I do? What are my steps? Okay, I want to put Pepsi or Coke.
Whatever outtakes he can't use because of the cursing, please send to me.
Who do I call? What do I do? The DM.
I tried the DM. Like, who do you want? And I'll say this to all aspiring entrepreneurs. Anybody trying to get some money from somebody, you have to go with products you use, go with things that you adore or want to be in line with, or aligns with your brand. That's number one. Right. So you need to go home, get with your crew, figure out who needs to be a part of the Social Proof
Water.
podcast. Clearly, but you have event space. Like there's sound partners, there are audio partners, there are all types of partners, but you have to be intent. What do you have most of in here that they didn't give you? All right. If you got these microphones, Shure mics. Shure mics, we need a bag. Where's the camera? Sure, we need a bag. We have a lot of things going on, not just our podcast, but many podcasts. I don't know if you saw Earn Your Leisure. They were just in here. Kenny Burns was just in. You have the audio and video to support it.
It's not,
call? People like that, you cold call. 9 times out of 10, you know somebody. Yeah.
Can you manage me?
I can't. I don't have the time. I can introduce you to any one of my relationships, though. For free.
Have you ever managed somebody?
Nah.
Never got into that?
Nah, personalities that I don't have to be responsible for 24 hours are the best personalities to manage.
I feel that.
If I get you for 2 hours, you're going to have the best time of your life. After that, I'm going to have to send you home to
So you have some relationships.
Yeah. Any relationship I have is yours. You just let me know. But you got to be intentful. Is intentful a word? You have to be intent.
Full of intent.
Is it a word? Okay. Yeah, just be intentional. Like, Kenny, I like this. Not just because I have a relationship with Pepsi or I have a relationship with the world.
No, but I love Pepsi. I love it.
Who wouldn't? They cut checks. But the point is, like, literally get in line with something you love.
Yeah.
People need coffee. I didn't put my thing up here because you can get a check from somebody that makes coffee and juices and shaking green teas with 4 pumps of classic.
Hey guys, y'all see this little table? This is for you.
Hold on, go back to me. Where's it? Insert your product. I'm trying to get the balance. Insert your product here.
Yo, you mentioned that you're about to get into podcasting.
Yeah, man. I was at V103 for 2 years. And it was because I was on my Instagram during the pandemic, and it was a big racially motivated political season, and we were in a pandemic, and I felt like I needed to go talk to my people and more people. Like I was already doing on my social platform. I have a couple 100,000 followers, but I felt like the airwaves still had people that really needed the information.
Sure.
So I went on, to V103 and interviewed the now President of the United States, Vice President of the United States, every celebrity you could think of, and really change. Obviously, we changed Georgia blue. Not that I care about party lines or colors. I just care about humans. We put the best humans we could at the time in position to get us to the next line. There'll be another line. But back to my point about if I didn't do that, where would we be? Georgia was a catalyst in the nation winning the election. And then also, too, when you look at the pandemic, I was fearful. Tuskegee, all these things. I had heard a lot of the wrong information is what I heard, and a lot of us heard. But I was on the radio for 6 months talking about, I don't know about the vaccine. I'm not sure. And then I got all the information and I got it. And I'm sure tens of thousands of people did the same because.
Yeah. But why podcasting? What do you see? I feel like you see something.
Yeah, I can curse more. Yeah. And then I could be more in depth with the things I only had 2 to 10 minutes tops to talk about. I mean, of course, the President of the United States went a little longer. The first female vice president, a Black woman, went a little longer, but traditionally only had between 2 and 7 minutes to get across a point.
Gotcha.
And there are things like why I feel racist that I want to talk about. There are things.
Why you feel what?
Racist.
You feel racist?
I'm just saying. Not that I feel racist, but sometimes you see things you're reminded that there's a color barrier. But I'm not talking about that on your show. That's going to be on my first podcast. So, but there are other topics. So, they're just things, you want to talk about that you can't really talk about and that people think about. So that's my intent for my podcast. The Kenny Burns Show will still be an ecosystem of pop culture happenings, interviews, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But I'm finally in control, and it just feels amazing.
Yeah, you being able to, I think it's dope going that way. Like, you've been on the radio, meaning you had to cut the fluff and make a point in 5 minutes.
Yeah, hard.
And
especially when you're interviewing Herschel Walker.
Why say that?
He's and I have a cousin, so I can say he's not good. He's not good, bro. Please keep this. Insert here. He's not good. It's not good.
Yo.
We don't have any people telling the truth no more, bro. If you don't want to use a rephrase.
It's this whole little last 15 seconds was crazy. Not.
You looking for me to change my mind? This guy here.
Yo, what was your anytime you ever felt outside of Dirk, right?
Like I love Dirk, by the way.
For sure.
But it's scary hour.
You ever been threatened? Seems like everybody loves you, but
no, I've never been threatened. My life has never been threatened.
You never felt nervous, never felt like some things?
I felt always lifted. I felt always like I had God with me, and I've been shot at. I mean,
really?
I don't know if people were shooting at me. I like to think that
Tell the story.
Yeah, that's not, no. But I've had things happen you think like, whoa. Yeah. The only time, I think it was the 12th grade, somebody said they was going to come kill me over some girl. And they pulled a gun on my man, and then he died 2 weeks later. Not by me.
Right.
Karma.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't had, yeah. you're like, damn, this nigga, is he really like?
Yo, it's because I know you know some things about the music industry and kind of like behind
Cut
the
that
scenes
part out
stuff.
about the 2 weeks later. I'm getting too comfortable.
About the music industry and how things are changing. Let me ask you this: do you feel?
Pick back up here.
And I think I think you do feel, but I want to get your perspective. You've seen the seasons of music change.
Oh, you're such a good interview.
Thanks, man. I studied you. Where music is going now, we see like, it's kind of like, it's almost like the drug culture, and it seems like almost gangster rap is worse now than it was.
You about to get me going.
I'd like to hear your thoughts, because you're in the world. You're in that world.
Listen, man, it's ironic, man, because I feel like now R&B is needed more than ever. And topically, I just feel like, even like what Brent Faiyaz did with his album, like it's super toxic on some level, but it's his understanding which makes it vulnerable and acceptable. Meaning like somebody's gonna be toxic if they don't know. But then the comparison, like to your point where R&B versus rap is just like, they're in like a mental health stage. Like they really are.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to my son coming back yesterday, we were in Detroit. And we were coming back, and he's literally, few words. And I'm like, your brain is mush. Your brain is mush. You literally, I'm listening to it. He has headphones on, but I'm listening. I'm like, but that's your era. I was like, well, what is it about this era that you like? He said, Dad, it's really cadence and beat. And my sons are like, I like to think they're very smart. So when they say cadence, 21 and 18. So this is my actual 21-year-old. But he's like, yeah, no, we listen to cadence and beat. It's mood. It puts us in a certain energy. And I get that because it puts me in a certain mood. I could definitely get ready to hoop or get ready to go. Or even in the middle of the club, if I'm off that Uncle Nearest, I could really, all right, go back to my old ways, right? But at the same time, it's like not productive in any way, fashion, or form. Yeah. For your psyche, not even just, please definitely don't pop no pills. I mean, you see these kids are dying from organ failure.
It's crazy.
24 years old. Like, but my thing is like when we were growing up, you smoke weed, the chronic. You will live to tell your story. Right? I mean, also the gangster stuff that came with it. And we saw what happened in the Pac and Big War and like all these things. And there were lessons learned. And there were things done different after those lessons were learned. But these kids, you got a gun charge and then you still got pounds on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Kodak Black, one of the greatest melody makers of his generation. You ain't saying shit. But you got melody for that. I get mad at myself on Super Gremlin, but it's infectious. But you're not saying nothing. Then you double down on the... Then you go do a Donald Trump ad?
Man.
Like you are part of the problem. And people are always like, well, you're too hard. I am embracing all youngers that have any talent.
Yeah.
But if you go down the rabbit hole, I'm not going with you. And I'm not letting nobody I love go down there with you either. And I love too. Like if I and we together and I say I love you, I mean it. I don't have to know you, talk to you. I told Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher, at the VIP experience for InvestFest. I told him I love him in front of everybody. I meant it. Because I love what you are doing. Who you are matters. You need to keep showing up like this. You need to hear thorough black men tell you they love you. I love you.
For sure. Yeah.
But people are weird, bro. That's why this industry is like, you wonder why. It's like, think about it. They doubling down on the BS because people are amplifying it. Not just the people buying it, the people selling it.
Yeah.
They the ones make the most money. So it's a tragedy that we are at that state in hip hop because of what hip hop has done for so many people on and off the court, meaning in music and for entrepreneurs. And to be so disrespectful to the art form, like that's why everybody love Lil Baby. I mean, my generation love Lil Baby like we love Jeezy and T.I.
Yeah.
But at some point, like Baby just did, why he ain't got no tattoos and what type of life he want post.
I rocks with him.
That's the same thing. I can't talk about trap no more. I ain't in the trap. He on Trap Museum. Right. We're not mad at you. We're gonna keep coming because we want to know history. At the same time, he ain't got to glorify it no more. Jeezy. Investments, got married, having to pay. People want to grow. You got to be able to grow.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Then I feel bad for these youngers. They not They don't have no space to grow.
Right. But I mean, I guess they're in the space now, so they're in it. So like maybe in a couple years, like, so obviously.
Dirk maybe. Kodak Black, he going out in a ball of flames.
I mean, somebody, an older generation.
No, when you choose to be ignorant and you double down on the ignorance, you become what?
Ignorant?
More ignorant.
Yeah.
That's your choice.
Yeah.
Because you got enough OGs like myself that speak out. You can't tell me you ain't heard me say something about you. And I say it so that you can hear it.
Yeah.
That's intent.
But it's hard in the space.
And it's big brotherly. It's not like I'm coming at you.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Right.
I don't do that. I would never do that.
Yeah.
Because that's not how you approach somebody.
Yeah.
But to remind you of where you are and where you could be, that's my job.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's different ways to approach that.
But how do you help them see it? Let's say like
some people ain't worth saving. This is the problem with our community.
Check this out. Jeezy and T.I.
They was worth saving.
But when they were in it, there was probably somebody saying,
nah, but you got to think about the eras, bro. They had no instruction.
Right.
These kids, they got every manual in the book. They have no excuse.
Yeah.
And you actually got people that care. Kevin Liles jumped out. He jumped off the cliff to help Thug and them. And you know Thug and them, great humans in the community, done great things in the community. But you still affiliated with this life. What do you expect? The RICO was designed to get gangsters because gangsters were so savvy and had property and had all these things. But the RICO was designed because we have no statute of limitations. We have the right to go back and get this one in a life. If you say anything, conspiracy, if you do. So my thing is like, there's blueprints of how not to get in trouble and get this money.
Yeah.
How to be an artist and say things in your art that might, but when you're telling on yourself, when you're saying exactly what you're doing, who you're affiliated with, what car you were in,
right.
And I'm not talking about Thug in the statement I'm making right now, but whatever that is, come on, bro. It's not even worth explanation, bro.
Yeah.
It's almost baffling. And it's so disappointing because, again, you have all of the manuals, you have all of the videotape, you have all of the viral everything to show you what not to be.
What do they need? What needs to happen right now? If like the world in hip hop is
like
a club,
R. Kelly,
they
need their freedom taken.
What does Kenny do?
Listen, bro, this is the parent speaking. No more chances for people that 3, 4, 5, 6, 17 different strikes. Doesn't make sense. Yeah. You know what you're doing at this point. So you need to go on and face your consequences. And that's what life needs to be. Because people take advantage. You're taking advantage of innocent kids that have no clue. It's like women. And this goes to any woman that can hear the sound of my voice. At the end of the day, hoeing is not the way. They're man-hoes. Men been hoes way longer than women. Yeah. But women, what example are you leaving the impressionable? Men, what example are you leaving the impressionable? Every time I get on the Instagram, I had to show my wife yesterday. Baby, I don't have this many. I'm not following this. It's not, baby. It's what they want you. If you go to Instagram, bro, it's unbelievable how many. If I go on my Instagram right now, let's go through this. It's so many. How many? And then the problem, and this is why I want to say to my women before I get off, I go on tangents, but y'all need it. You cannot expect a man to love you, to honor you, if you don't honor and love yourself. Showing up in the Instagram, being free, and can't nobody keep me, I'm a woman, and no. If you meet somebody and you're hypersexual in the club at 2 a.m, he calls you at 11 o'clock the next night because he want to, that's the impression you gave him. That's the impression you gave him. If that's your body of work, that's who you are. Yeah. Now you could be a freak. You can let your freak flag fly, be whoever you want to be, but you got to be okay with that. Don't be out here talking about why love ain't reached me yet. How I ain't got nobody. I got a job. Well, go.
Yo, Mark has a lot of work to do on this episode.
You really think somebody gonna take you serious? This is my thing. It's like men. Am I lying? Men who constantly get in their own way with women. You can't expect them to be good men.
Yeah.
You can't. It's a fact.
Yo, here's the pattern. And I believe music has a lot to do with it. So I know I sold weed a little bit. I wasn't good at it. I went to jail for a little bit. Got scared.
Oh, you got a little thug in you.
Nah, I don't. I was nervous. I was like, the story is crazy how
black men get caught up in that because that's what we see.
For sure. They had to like get me out actually.
Oh, wow.
But all I heard was Jeezy, T.I., Jay-Z. Like that was the music and it affected. So now we see the Cardis and the Nickis and, all these people.
I love Cardi B, by the way.
I love her too.
And I'll tell you why. It has nothing to do with her body.
Right.
And the things she does. Her mind, yes. And if you could, and to your point, the people that deserve to be helped, to deserve chances. I mean, dog, her history game, her political game, the way she sees life is amazing. It just takes people like us to be like, come on. She done done it by herself as far, but what she really wants to be, we help her with that.
Yeah.
Because she's really a thoughtful human. And that's all it takes. She had to do what she had to do, but she ain't never not doubled down on the fact that she was who she was.
For sure.
See, people be paying, like this is my thing in life. People hold these, you were saying like Jeezy and T.I. They taught me more about the energy of hustling, not just drugs. It was the feeling about getting it. Let's get it. Like Jeezy would say, you'd be like, where we going today? What we getting? How much? Like what? And it was more of an adrenaline rush.
For you though.
No, for everybody because they grew in business. If you saw them only as trap rappers, that man was the Huxtables 2 years ago before the VH1. Am I lying?
100%.
So that's growth, and that's a visual guide for the ones who are doing it now. Like I respect Dirk for wifing his girl publicly, showing people that relationships matter. And I just said too, I think he will be one to go. I also gave you the example of Kodak Black, who will not be going anywhere. And I'm not on him, I'm telling the truth so other people will know the difference. You want to be hood rich or you want to be wealthy? You want to mean something to somebody or you want to be a flash in the pan?
Yeah.
It's different. It's a difference.
Yeah.
And we got to have truth tellers. I'm not these executives and these so-called superheroes are going to tell people what they want so they can be a part of the new and now and the hip and hype. I don't give a I quit tomorrow and be straight off my investments. But at the end of the day, I have more work to do. I have a responsibility since they won't. They tell you the truth. And Kodak Black, if you do want to get right, I still will be here for you. But if I give you the game, and you don't want to receive it, I don't think you listen to anybody.
Talk about your investments. What do you invest in?
My wife and I are Series A investors in Uncle Near's whiskey, which is the fastest growing American whiskey in U.S. history.
Did it come to you first or did somebody?
No, I had, it came to me because of what I've done in the spirits industry for sure.
So you wouldn't take any other sponsorships from other spirits?
Well, I'm an owner. Moet Hennessy. Moet Hennessy is, excuse me.
Take your time.
I don't know what the got in there. My wife and I invested in Uncle Near's Series A, the fastest growing independently owned American whiskey in U.S. history.
Wow.
With 10% owners of LS Cream Liqueur, a Haitian Cremos-inspired cream liqueur. It's the best cream in the world. And I just raised a significant amount of money and got 10% of the Spearhead Group, which is Vusa Vodka and Bayab Gin, the only known Black-owned African spirits that are out, young kids. Chris and Demola out of London. They're both from, obviously, Africa. But the diaspora is everywhere. And where I am personally in my life, spirit world, obviously, I'm a part of that because that's what I do. When I stop drinking, I'll sell my portfolio for $1 billion. But then, the reason I'm even so excited in the partnerships that I'm making, it's like, when you think about Africa, I've never been to Africa.
Really?
I've never been to Africa. And I wanted to be more impactful on the continent. But I know just going now, I've got to meet all these different people. But now I have a business. That is, the Bayab gin is made from the fruit of the tree of life. You know what I mean? The vodka sugarcane, which is heavy in Africa. And so we have all these things that now I could go and I can be at the top of the food chain as far as introduction. I can make a difference immediately. My partners are, the Pendulum Group, which is a big Black-owned fund out of LA. And they literally, they manage Obama's money. They manage, the guy, Messiah Jury, I think is his name, he was the GM for the Toronto Raptors when they won a chip. And he's part of NBA Africa. So but again, it's about relationships.
Yeah.
I had this opportunity, made these other relationships, and now I can go be influential to the continent. Do you understand what the diaspora is? The diaspora is Africans everywhere.
Yeah.
Africans are everywhere. All of us have a lineage to the motherland. So, that's where I'm at mentally, man. I want to find, fund, and fuel dreams.
Is that investing in entrepreneurs?
Everything. I did it with LS Cream. Uncle Nearest. I did it with LS Cream. I'm doing it with Spearhead Group. I've given to plenty of people that I believed in musically that didn't work out because they're doing, not mine. But I love music.
Is that management?
That's not management. That's funding.
Right.
I like how you asked that again.
Well, I'll try. But do you bring them, say, it's not just your money that they need, right? It's some sort of guidance.
Well, it's guidance, but I think for me, it's like I partner with sound people. I partner with people that have as much ambition in me. And now at this level, I want to invest in people that are smarter than me. Gotcha. I might see something in you couldn't see in yourself. Not only can fund you, but I can point you in the directions in my wheelhouse of relationships.
Got it.
I don't want to have to tell nobody something all the time or try to make them believe in themselves. If they don't believe in themselves, I don't want to be in business with them.
You have ownership, and this is a really important question. You have ownership in spirit companies. Would you still take sponsorship from a Grey Goose or another?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Moët Hennessy again. They're sponsoring.
Isn't that kind of contradictory?
Absolutely not. I'm an owner. I'm not an ambassador.
No, I'm talking about if it was something you don't have nothing to do with, and they just want to give you a check to promote.
No, I don't really do that. I only promote my brands, but in this particular situation of my birthday party, it's gonna be the biggest ever. Yeah. But I can't fund it with my companies as of now. I could with Uncle Nearest, but that's not what Uncle Nearest does. Uncle Nearest is a heritage brand. It has a 160-year-old story. It's it's right up there with Jim Beam, Jack Daniels. He taught Jack Daniels. So, but at the end of the day, the newer ones are not equipped enough to do it, and they're more celebratory and would be something that would align with my party. But because I have great relationships, because Moët Hennessy is a great partner and has been for some decades, and Minnesota just happens to be one of their emerging markets, Minneapolis. But it's also, being intentful with who you're going after and what you need from them.
Got you. Couple more questions. I remember, there's a meme that shows Jay-Z. You gotta go?
Oh, we got
5 minutes. There's a meme, not meme, but there's a video where Jay-Z is kind of looking just out of it. And then I think my Dame and Bleak are still hyped.
Michael Jackson.
And the Joyce says, this is the moment Jay-Z knew he was going to leave everybody or something like that.
Yeah, that was the Michael Jackson show at the...
oh, was it?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. When Michael Jackson came out on Hot 97's, whatever.
You've seen Jay-Z's growth. You've worked with him.
I'm glad you asked this question. Go
ahead. In that moment, I want to know where you were, but that transition of watching someone grow. I want to know what you learned from that.
Well, I can't talk about Jay without talking about Dame and Biggs, and I want to break down the dynamic of our relationship. Biggs and I are great friends still. Dame and I are back to good friends, but some things transpired when I was leaving Rockefeller. Jay-Z and I have never been friends like me and Biggs and Dame are friends. Jay and I are friends, and he definitely understands I've been a part of Rockefeller from the beginning, which is why I have a chain in the whole nine. But
you have a chain?
Absolutely.
That's lit.
Yeah. But the point in the moral...
That's a historical artifact, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah. But the reason I'm breaking down this is for people to understand how relationships work and why you don't need to be friends with everybody, but respect is a commonality in everything.
Yeah.
And, Jay has always been someone who's been a sponge. What a lot of people don't know is he admits he doesn't know everything, but he tries to put the right pieces around him. And I respect him more now than I've ever respected him because of his family and what he's created, for how he does not show up in culture aggressively or trying to be known anymore. He only shows up in ways to help
That's true.
and educate and inform. And he is someone I'm a fan of. And I'm not a fan of nobody. Prince, my father, died. May he rest in peace. I'll be in his house on October 29th for my birthday. So you can understand what that means to me now.
Sure.
And I don't even know any other people I can say I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of Jay-Z. I appreciate what he's doing for culture. He is he's exemplifying what can happen, when you don't have an education, when you don't have blueprints, when you don't have a father in your life, the way that Black men lead in their children's lives. And I respect him tremendously. I want to give him his flowers because I think at the end of the day, people adore him for, obviously being a billionaire now and all the things that he could probably care less about. I adore him because I've seen the growth and understand what it will mean for generations to come.
I love it, man. Look, thank you for coming. I got to do a quick commercial, especially because I'm going to sponsors. And then I'm going to ask you one question. And then we're going to go. But this episode is sponsored by The Morning Meetup. TheMorningMeetup.com is the only organ. Let me tell you about The Morning Meetup.
Yeah.
MorningMeetup.com is the organization that gathers every single day for the betterment of entrepreneurs. I'm literally on a call with entrepreneurs, 400 every single morning.
So
teaching entrepreneurship, teaching what I know. And I if you're in the morning meetup, I allow them to come to the live recordings. Normally do it on Wednesdays, but we had to make a special case for this one. But normally they just come.
Y'all are part of it?
I take care of my
Did you learn anything? The dream is wake up.
Well, literally, it's $79 a month, but I'm on the call every single day. We're going through content creation, marketing, whatever.
I love it.
I'd love to have you on the call one day. You'll be impressed.
Yeah, I would love to do
all amazing. So yes, join themorningmeetup.com. It is we have an amazing book club. Last year we read, how many books did we read last year? 15 books together. We read a chapter a day. We read a chapter a day together. And we're continuing that movement, and we are a family. So go to themorningmeetup.com. Okay. So one, thank you, Kenny.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have to be here, but you are an inspiration.
Thank you.
And I think you're very intentional about pouring back into the previous generation, giving them all that you have, and you are really creating a blueprint for us to say, listen, go become successful, but come back and go get them.
Absolutely.
We all need help.
Absolutely.
I would like to know where you see yourself or what you see yourself accomplishing in the next 5 years, because I want to watch this 5 years from today and say, Kenny said he was going to do that 5 years ago. Look, he did it.
Yeah, I want to be the number one voice for culture. There'll be many voices in culture, and I'll be partly responsible for introducing some of them as well, but I want to be the number one voice. And I think there has to be clarity and there has to be order back in media, back in culture, where we all can aspire and be great, but also not play ourselves in the process. And I think a lot of people play themselves in the process. And I'm tired of seeing people, playing themselves. I really am. I think it's room for everybody to get money, but I think people think there's only a certain a couple ways to get money.
Yeah.
That there's only certain things that can do, and there's so many ways that would probably fit your personality better than what you're currently doing. So just helping people, identify those superpowers. And, I want to bring the emotional connection back between celebrity and patrons. There's no mystique anymore.
You said bring
the emotional connection. I mean, back in the day when people saw Michael Jackson, they literally pass out.
Yeah.
I don't think celebrities have that power anymore.
Yeah.
And I would like to see it for them because I think it means more when you can, listen to someone, not see them all the time. You have celebrities farting on the Instagram. It's like, how special are you? I'm dead serious. How special are you?
Yeah.
So I want to help define what status quo is again. It has to be status quo in life. Everybody can't be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
So if I can do my part through speaking, through some type of curriculum, I want to do that.
You do speaking gigs now?
Absolutely. I don't get $30,000 to not. I think I just host them.
I don't know. I just never see like. I would love to see a Kenny
because you see my
keynote.
pictures. I just want to say, where's the camera? I just want to say this. Don't let anyone judge you by your pictures or the fact that you show up with that. Okay? I need you to make them see you. Okay? And more importantly, make them keep discovering you. All right? Touch yourself.
I would love to see a Kenny Burns keynote. I just haven't seen it. I'm sure you do it. That joint would be crazy.
Yeah, I had a whole crying thing on. I got an award. During the BET Awards, they do the help me y'all. I can't this up. I just got the award. Culture.
Okay.
I got a Culture Creator Award for entrepreneurship, and it was my peers.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do the thing. Insert here. I couldn't do the thing. I kept crying, and I wasn't crying because I never got an award or that people haven't given me my flowers, but I felt like the industry never gave me my flowers. I never get recognized for all the things I've contributed to or done. And I literally, like, it's Tank's fault because Tank introduced me. He went off script. He's like, that. I'm going to tell y'all why this is the realest plan. I was back there like. So I got through it, but yeah, it was funny.
Man, amazing.
And inspiring.
Good. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Let everybody know, how they can connect with you, how they can support anything you got going on. And then just close us out with a word of wisdom, man. You've been in the game for decades, right? True influencing for decades. So, just let everybody know how they can connect with you and close out with a word.
Yeah, Google me. No, I'm just playing. At Kenny Burns on all platforms.
What's the name of the podcast? You got the name yet?
TKBS Nation is the first time I ever said that, so you actually have the exclusive new podcast. It's called TKBS Nation. The Kenny Burns Show will also appear on your something very soon. So those are two independent, dope brands you need to follow. And if I could tell you anything before I leave, I would tell you to never let your expectations exceed your effort. I think we all have fallen short to that. But if you can keep your eye on the prize and work for it, you'll get it.
There we go. Look, we can't close it out no better than that, man. Do yourself a favor. Follow Kenny Burns. I can't wait for the podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast, show some love. And lastly, go get you some social proof, meaning go build something. But remember how you built it, study how you built it, and come back to your community and teach it. That's the only way our community grows. We are out of here. Peace.
And get some sleep, suckers.